Welcome to Playing on the Edge Radio, Radical Change with Ease, with Master Healer Megan Edge and Dr. Pat. This is a space for real conversations about what it means to heal, grow, and transform without losing yourself along the way. Here we explore the edges of change, grief, identity shifts, spiritual awakening, burnout recovery, transformation, and the quiet return to belonging. Each episode blends intuitive insight, practical tools, and meaningful spiritual perspectives to help you reconnect with your inner wisdom and navigate life's transitions with more ease, courage, and self-trust. If you're ready to come home to yourself and discover that radical change doesn't have to be hard, you're in the right place.
Take this really journey, and we have got a blockbuster for you today. This is one of these episodes where both Megan and I, we are influenced by the world around us, whether it's helping people, running a network, whatever we do, there is an influence. And I want to just point this out. You don't always have to come from the worst of the worst situations to be on the edge of your outdated story. That's today's episode. You see, we often think about ourselves or people we see or movies. We take a look out there and we think about these other people and we see how awful or their situation and what they're going through, right? And then we project upon them. How do we do that? Social media, emails, talking. The bottom line is, and Megan's going to walk us through this because this is the work she does to help people. And without this work, I'm telling you folks, you are running in place. You're not even running. You're walking in place. You're on the edge of just moving backwards because the world around you is moving ahead without you. So what story are you telling yourself every day? Megan, what do you think about what I said about that? Like, even if you think, right, even if you think you're moving forward and you're not, you're just walking in place, jumping in place, let's say, and you think you're moving, but you're not because everything around you is kind of moving ahead.
Well, yes, and that is accurate to be sure, especially if you are unconsciously stuck in a reel or stuck in a loop of an outdated story that no longer serves you, but you're not aware of it yet because it's so comfortable. You're so used to that story, those words that you're saying to describe your circumstances and situation, that you aren't moving forward. And I think part of burnout comes because we're struggling in an old story that we're not aware of and trying at the same time to keep pace with the world around us, which, as you point out, is moving very fast these days.
Yeah. Yeah. And, in that context, I want to talk to you about what you're going to take us through right out of the gate, the anatomy of an outdated story and core beliefs. And, what's so obvious to me as I prepared for this is how many of those stories, we have, even you and I who do this work. I mean, if I had a dime for every issue in my life that I had to work on and move beyond, you and I would not be talking. We would be buying our own island somewhere. But part of this is I wasn't always aware. I wasn't always aware. So from where you sit, right? How do we break this down so people not just understand it? Because every time we talk about, you got to release it, you got to let it go, you got to choose, you got to do all that. But what does that even mean? So help us understand the anatomy of this thing, because does it look like a jellyfish? Does it look like a Schwarzenegger? Does it look like a Mack truck? What does it look like, Megan? Help me out.
Well, I love all of those analogies. Sea urchin came to mind too, spine.
Oh, that's a good one.
Protecting us. Well, let's start with a really key phrase, which is this: your past is a place of reference. It is not a place of residence. Think about that for a moment. What do I mean by that? Your past is a place of reference. It's something that has happened to you already that you refer back to, and it shapes the way in which you perceive your experiences in the present moment. But you're not supposed to live there. right? And I've known many, many people over the years, clients, family, friends, who unconsciously are living in that past experience or experiences. And what do experiences give us? They give us beliefs. It's a cycle. We have an experience. It either reinforces a belief that we already have. For example, let's say the belief that you're carrying, one of the beliefs you're carrying is, I'm not good enough. I don't deserve to have anything. There'll be a belief above that, which is nothing good ever happens to me, or there's no point in my trying because it's not going to work, right? And then your experiences are going to validate that limiting belief without you being consciously aware of it. And that begins to run your life. That becomes the narrative in the back of your mind. And again, you're not necessarily aware of this voice. It's way, way in the back of your mind. You know, if you want to look at it geographically, it's way at the back of your head. This little tiny voice that says, not you, everybody but you. The work that I do with people's stories is helping them to identify those limiting beliefs by pulling out the language that they're using to describe their experiences. So I'll give an illustration of that. I had a client in this week, and I noticed as she was talking to me and telling me her story, and I could tell this was a story she told many times before because she was very comfortable and very entrenched in her responses and triggers to the story as she told it. One of the words she used repeatedly was hard, the word hard. Everything
Yep.
was hard. It started hard, it ended hard. It was just hard. Her life was hard. And I pointed this out to her gently and lovingly, but also forcefully, because when someone comes to work with me, I don't want to waste time, namby-pambing about all of it. I want us to get to the heart of it as quickly and as healthfully as we can, because by the time someone comes to me, they're ready to put this story down. They're just not sure how to go about doing it, or they don't know yet that they're even carrying that story. So I pointed this out to her. And I invited her to start paying attention to any of the times that she used that word to describe something in her life. Now, in and of itself, it's just a word. Why am I harping on this word hard? Because every word has vibration. And some words have a high vibration and some words have a low vibration. And this isn't woohoo. We can actually see the oscillation when we record people speaking of when a word dips in the vibration of the sound of it and when a word goes up in the vibration of the sound of it. So hard is one of those low vibration words. And here's what happens when you say the word hard. Full stop. If something
That's
is
it.
hard, that's it. You're done. It's hard. And you just stay there in that hard energy. I suggested to her that she start practicing inserting the word challenge or challenging in replace of the word hard and noticing how everything in her system, in her nervous system, in her vagal, every system in the body reacts to that new word. What do we do with a challenge? Typically, we rise to the challenge. As soon as we say the word challenge, our brain starts looking for solutions.
Yeah.
There's this like incredible neuron explosion that goes off in our brain when we start using the word challenge because we like a challenge. As a species, we like a challenge. We're hardwired
Yes, we do.
to find solutions for challenges, right? So with that, just that simple switch from one word that she'd been using for years and years and years that defined, not only described her experience of her life, but defined her experience of her life. She now has the opportunity to switch it up and start to feel into solutions, right? As opposed to stuck.
Yeah. And that's just one thing, but it really is everyday life language, everyday life thinking. And then even when you put a string of those thoughts together and they appear as a collective, right? It's a story. Okay. I told you I wasn't going to do this, but I have to do it. I posted on X Twitter today because I am a women's sports advocate. I have been all my life since the day I started to play softball, manhole to manhole. And yes, they're still called manholes, but they really are. I think we tried to change that up, but
I
it
think the
didn't work.
street holes.
Is it street holes
I
now?
don't
I
know.
don't know. I don't know. I don't
But
know.
it's the
I don't
power
know.
of words.
It's
There's a good
power words.
example.
And I'm watching something in a sport that I could not excel in. It was not for me. First of all, I'm too short, but I am tough on the basketball court, right? But early on, I knew that wasn't going to be for me. But I still love the sport, and I've been watching the rise of the Women's Basketball Association. And so there is a core superstar that you could see her evolving story around refereeing and fouls. And I want to write her or call her and say, Ms. Clark, Megan and I can help you a lot about this. We really can. You know, there are some things we could show you really to help you be in complete control of who you are and show them by being badass about it. And but that's the truth of it. And so I'm watching this and I'm saying, why does she not have somebody in her court to help her? And then I realized millions and millions, especially of women, don't have somebody to help them with this. Am I wrong?
I don't think so. I think you're quite
No,
right. I think you're quite
no.
right. What, to your point, where is her support? Where is her help? What story is she telling her? I want to talk a little bit, first of all, about what I mean by story. What do we mean
Please
by
do.
your story? And some people, when I have started this work with them, will say, well, what do you mean my story? Like I'm making it up? You think I'm making this up? No, and probably that person, as they were growing up, were told not to make up stories. So the word story becomes loaded. All that I mean by story is the experiences that you've had in your life.
Yep.
Are you making up your experiences? No, your experiences happen to you. Somebody slams the car door on your finger, that's a real experience. But what do you do with that experience? When I work with people around story, I am calling them out on what they are making up about the experience that they had, what it means to them, or what they think it means about them. And then where they're taking that story and bringing it into their everyday life, like you talked about earlier, you know. And some stories are great stories. We talk about, in the work I do, I talk about limiting beliefs and limitless beliefs. So
Oh, wow.
limitless beliefs are fantastic beliefs. They're the belief that I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me, to quote Saturday Night Live, and really believing it, or simply knowing what you are good at and being okay with knowing that and owning that. You know, I'm a great runner. I'm not a great runner. I won't own that one. But let's see, I'm really great at foraging. I'm a master forager. I can say that with complete conviction because I know that it's true. You're a fantastic ping pong player. That's a truth,
That
right?
is the truth.
That's a limitless belief. You can do so much with that belief. A limiting belief is one that holds you in place, just like you talked about at the very beginning. It's holding you in place. So I'll give you an example because as we were preparing for this show, and I'm thinking, all right, I know I still have limiting beliefs. We all do. You know, they're all there. And
Oh,
healing
I
is
got a
about
big one right now.
healing is about pulling back the layers, right? So, what is my current limiting belief? And I realized it's that I'm not good at technology. I even used the word
Oh,
Luddite the other day in a conversation with someone about technology. And I'm talking basic technology. I'm talking about making a website or putting out an email or doing a funnel or all these kind of marketing things. I've got this belief that's now coming to the surface that I'm just not good at that. It's not my wheelhouse. And I can make up all kinds of excuses and say, I don't have time to learn it. I don't have the bandwidth. I'm not interested. But at the end of the day, as a business owner, if I don't understand how my technology works, I won't succeed
oh,
in my work. And yes, I can farm it out and I can hire somebody to do it. And I've tried that in the past. But in the end, I'm not the one in control of it. And therefore, it doesn't do what I need it to do or what I want it to do. So, what is the underlying core limiting belief to this surface belief of I'm not good at technology? Right. This is one of the things that I do with my clients when we go down deep into what is the limiting belief. So basically the question is, what is the worst thing that can happen to me if I'm not good at technology?
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And it's the first answer. So my first answer is I don't succeed at business because everybody else around me seems to know how to do it but me, right? So then the
Exactly.
next the next question becomes, Well, what is the worst case scenario if I'm not good at business? Oh, okay, what do I believe about that? Well, if I'm not good at business, then who am I to be a businesswoman? Am I making it up as I go along? Is there some imposter syndrome going on underneath that? And you and I did a show about imposter
Yeah,
syndrome.
yeah.
Okay, so if I'm an imposter, what's the worst possible case scenario if I'm an imposter? Well, then I'm not being true to myself. Okay, but that's not the core belief yet. And so what we do is we keep going. We keep asking, what's the worst possible scenario? What's the worst case if I'm not good enough? Eventually, we're going to get to that absolute core belief that's holding up the house of cards. And we'll know we got there because there'll be a visceral body response, right? What's yours?
Well, I'll tell you something that came up for me, and this is really act and reaction
Mm,
because there's a second part to the story when you get to the point that you're at,
hmm.
especially if you are having a conversation with another person. Okay, so I've done a little posting here, really, really kind of cool stuff. Like, in order for me to show, oh, this is so silly. In order for me to show the commissioner of the WNBA the full responsibilities of her job, and in my opinion, what she's doing well and what she doesn't, I created a pair of sneakers. One shoe of the sneaker has all the things, and the other one are all the things that are not being done. Now, when I post these things, sometimes I say I'm an athlete, and then somebody will look me up and I will get this. So so I got a thing that said ping pong is not a real sport. Okay. Okay, honey. Okay. So here's where I am. Now, this is not what I'm saying for people to do. You
Hmm.
see, what I just said about Caitlin Clark, Megan and I have to keep ourselves in check. But I did get an interesting idea because my response back is, okay, I'd love for you to come out and sit at the other end of the table and hit back my 80-mile-per-hour ball. And so the person says, no way, that's how fast the ball goes. So now what do? I'm looking up speed guns. So when I play with my coach on Friday, I can take a speed check. And if I'm not hitting the ball at 80, maybe 60, I have to do a rebuttal or I don't.
Hmm.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
Because our stories can turn into bizarro action,
Yeah.
like Bizarro, the anti-Superman character, Bizarro.
Yeah. Well, our stories can turn into drama.
Yeah.
And that's an interesting point. With one of my clients I was working with, we got down to the very core limiting belief, which was that she wouldn't exist. And if she wouldn't
Wow.
exist, then there was nothing. Right? So there was an annihilation core belief that she was experiencing. And I suggested to her that potentially why her life was so hard and why she continued to be involved in other people's dramas and creating her own is because that gave her existence some kind of meaning, right? This is one of the hard questions, and I'm using that word purposefully because it does stop people in their tracks when I ask it. What is the benefit to you of your limiting beliefs? What is the benefit to you? How does it benefit you to be stuck in a story that doesn't allow you to thrive and evolve as a human being, emotionally, intellectually, and spiritually? What's the benefit to you? And people, whoa, their backs go up. What do you mean?
Yeah.
What's the benefit? Why would it be beneficial for me to think that I don't deserve to win the lottery or have a husband or a wife or whatever? Why would I do that to myself? And I'm not asking that question from a place of blaming. I'm asking that question from a place of responsibility. You're a full-grown adult at this point. I'm not talking about a 7-year-old who's trying to sort themselves out and figure out their story, not even knowing they're doing it, they're just being in their creative juices. I'm talking about us as adults. We have a responsibility, and we are the only one who can take that responsibility to do our healing work and to show up
Yeah.
as the best version of ourselves, the best version of a human being that we possibly can. And that's the challenge that I put out to my clients, to my students, and if I'm doing public speaking, like this is the base of it all. This is what holds it up. What are you doing to take care of yourself as an adult?
Exactly.
Because
Exactly.
that's your job.
Exactly. Yeah. And let's be very clear about what we're talking about for this moment in time that you and I are talking. When we say taking care of ourselves, the body, mind, spirit part of this and the emotional part of it. And in 9 times out of 10 cases, the emotional part is left out. You know, we give people a bunch of tasks, a bunch of assignment, write your journal, do this, do that. But that's not going to help Caitlin Clark on the court. I mean, this is a woman that has a lifetime of being a little bit like me, right? I mean, honestly, so you want to work with somebody that was like you and is not like that anymore, because I'm the woman that coached championship softball. And I'm telling you, when I was ejected from the game, I climbed over the backstop to get at the referee. And so please don't mark that down as good behavior. It's not.
No.
But clearly, I had to put my passion and purpose in a different place and know how to handle that, not for me, but for who I wanted the team to become.
Mm-hmm.
What's the consequence of that? Well, bad behavior on the field. Like my players just crazy, like they're taking some kind of angry drug. But you can't see it in the moment.
You're right. And to that point, this is where I do come to this work with a great deal of empathy and, fierce gentleness in that I know, I understand. I've been there. I'm still there in some parts of my life, like I just shared around technology. It's it's where we all are at some point or another.
Yeah. Yeah.
But by the time someone comes to work with me, and I've said this many times before, they have got to be ready, willing, and able to do the work of and what's asked of them because they've already been through so many other healing systems that just
Mhm.
haven't worked for them. And I'm not bashing any healing systems because everybody comes to it from a different place and different modalities work for different people. But for the most part, by the time someone comes to me, they're saying, I've tried everything.
Yeah.
And there's something that hasn't shifted yet. And that's where I say, then look good. Let's
Yeah.
go and find those core limiting beliefs. Let's go and find the language that you're using and see if we can up
Yeah.
vibrate that language, and let's get you into this mindset of I am responsible for myself and my well-being. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean your story isn't important. It doesn't mean that what has happened to you is irrelevant or that we're pushing it away. We are not at all. What we are doing is we are changing your relationship with it.
And we're not
We're
changing the fact that it's some of these things are true. We're not changing
absolutely.
that. I
That's
mean, I
right.
was abused and beaten in Catholic boarding school at age 5. It doesn't mean that. But when I tell that story now, I don't lead with that. I said, when people ask me questions like, what's the worst thing that happened to you in that Catholic boarding school? I said, eating oatmeal, because that really was. But help us through with an exercise on how to question our core beliefs, because see, this is the work you do. And then, we have a lot to talk about today because it's all tied together to who we want to become, really,
Mm-hmm.
not who our parents told us, not to, my friends telling me, why the heck are you going to put up a black wall? I mean, honestly, you don't know what's in this head. And I'm not even going to invite you in there. But let's talk about an exercise we can help people with core beliefs.
Okay, well, let's use the example that I gave it before about my own where I find myself right now and I'm struggling. Or again, that's part of the story. I'm struggling with my technology. You can see now that's part of the story. I can change that right now and say, I am learning to understand how technology in marketing can serve me and my business. See what I did right there?
Yeah.
I caught myself and I switched it up. So now I can feel in my body, my whole body's going, oh yeah, we're learning. We love learning. Let's go learn. Let's learn how to do this. And learning for me is a big, like it's a challenge in that I love the challenge of learning.
Yeah, me too.
So now I want to know. But 2 seconds ago, I was talking about how I was struggling with it. That's how quickly, this is how quickly you can do this work. And honestly, if you could see the chemicals in your body, the chemical cascade as you make that switch, as you flip it up, you'd be astounded. So what will happen for me now is I will no longer use that word struggling in in the explanation or my understanding of my relationship with marketing and technology. I just
Yeah.
simply won't. I can't go back to it.
Yeah.
Right. So that's one way that you can work with understanding what your core limiting beliefs are by first of all paying attention to your language. And there's a fantastic book that changed my life by a woman named Yvonne Oswald. She's a Canadian
Oh
author.
God. Yes.
Every word has power.
Yes. She's
Oh,
got a new book too.
does she? Oh, okay. I have to
Yes.
get her
I
new book.
interviewed her. You got to get a hold of her.
Absolutely. Yeah. She and I were in touch for a little while and then we lost touch when her
That
daughter passed
book
away. But
changed me.
yeah, it was a foundational, fundamental switch up in my mind and my understanding of why my life seemed so hard at the time. And what was so interesting is as I started to change my language, as I started to understand the difference between a low vibration word like I forgot to a high vibration word such as I remember, I started noticing the language of all the people around me, including my most intimate relationships, my husband, my children. Well, they weren't really talking yet, but um, I noticed how other people were speaking, and it became jarring as I was practicing using different language and different understanding of the impact of that language on my whole system, on my central nervous system and my brain and all of it. So when you're looking at what are my core limiting beliefs, you can do that exercise that I shared at the beginning where, what is the worst case? First of all, you identify, like, what am I most afraid of? What is my biggest angst? What's my biggest concern? And we're talking personal emotional things like abandonment or not being good enough, those kinds of things. But the first thing that comes to you is going to be that surface one. You want to burrow down and down and down until either you can't answer the question because it's so deep, it's nonverbal, or in answering the question, you suddenly know that
Yeah.
that's what it is.
Yeah.
And then you can start changing your language around
Yeah.
that. I
Yeah.
have there's another exercise I want to share, but it's a bit longer. Do we want to wait until
No, let's do it
you
now.
want to do it now? Okay.
Yeah, let's do it now.
Okay, so a lot of what I work with people is the energetic systems of their bodies and understanding where those energetics are. And in this exercise, we're looking at the energy of the past, the energy of the present, and the energy of the future. Now, what's really fascinating is that when people talk about things that have happened in the past, they often gesture to the left. When we're talking about something that's happening
Yeah.
right now, you'll see people's hands are right in front of them. That's the energetic present. But when we're talking about the future and what we're going to do tomorrow, we gesture with our right hand. So there's a level of body language understanding in this exercise as well. And it's really fun when you start to notice
Yeah.
this connection. Again, it's like it's not like, it is an unconscious connection that we have to the energy around us. So, excuse me, we're in high energy right now. Let's bring that energy down. There we go. So this is typically done standing, but if you're sitting or you're driving, if you're driving, please don't stand. If you can't stand up, that's okay. You can do it sitting as well. Take a nice deep breath in and exhale and let your body settle. Deep breath in. Feel into your body as you settle into it again. And we're going to take one more deep breath in. And we allow anything that is no longer in our highest good to be released on that third breath. Okay, so bringing your awareness to the present moment. I invite you to bring in to your physical body right now anything and everything that is giving you grief, that is hurting, that feels uncomfortable, that feels sad, that feels disconnected. And I invite you to do this from the observer position. So that means staying up in your head and watching, not participating in it, because I don't want you to fall into this. I just want you to become aware of it, of where it is in your body and what it feels like and what it looks like. And just hold on to that for one moment and take a breath into it. And now what we're going to do with relaxed knees, if you're standing, relax knees, relax hips, relax shoulders. If you're sitting, just relax your shoulders, relax your hips. You're going to either physically or energetically step to the left. We're going to move everything that we're carrying right now in this present moment back into the past where it came from. So take that step energetically or physically to your left and stand there for a moment. Take a deep breath in, and on the exhale, say to yourself, I acknowledge, I accept. Deep breath in. I acknowledge, I accept. You're simply acknowledging it. You're simply saying, yep, this is it. This is what it is. Now we're going to take another deep breath in, and on the exhale, we're going to say, I release. And let that be a big breath out. Feel it all the way down until you can't breathe, and then take a nice gentle breath in. In that breath, you have created the intention to release back into the past any of the emotional baggage that you've brought into the present moment. And then give yourself a bit of a shake and let yourself go soft. And you can do it a couple of times if it feels like it's not happening right away, but don't force it. Don't try to make it happen. Just allow. That's the acknowledgement and the acceptance.
Yeah.
And now bring yourself back to your present moment. Put your hands into prayer position, which is just a typical way that we pray. And then move your hands to your solar plexus with your fingers pointing outward. So we're directing energy out into the present moment. And smile. Let yourself just smile for a moment. Okay, and then we're going to step into the right. We're going to step into the future. So take yourself physically or energetically into the future. Again, relax your body, physically or energetically. And now imagine every single thing that you want to happen for you. And if any buts show up, sit them right down, because that's all a butt is good for. You sit down on a butt. You don't let it get in the way. If excuses come up why you can't have it, that's okay. You just leave those excuses alone. I want you to paint a picture of what your life has the potential to be. And in that moment, I want you to feel it inside every single cell of your body. It is real. The love of your life, the career of your dreams, your bank account full, your family harmonious, whatever it is, and it can be more than one thing, you can ask for all of it. Standing in that future energy, feel that energy start to move through your body. Can you feel it? I've got goosebumps. I can feel it running up and down my body as I'm saying it. Bring it all in, and now breathe it in. And again, on the exhale, I acknowledge, I accept. And another deep breath in, and on the exhale, I release. Okay, and in that lightness of being, you're now going to return to this present moment, having released into the past that which belongs in the past, having released into the future that which belongs into the future and is coming towards you. And in this moment, you are in a state of grace and allowing. Take a deep breath in, release, and open your eyes and smile.
Megan, thank you so much. Well, excuse me. We're going to take a really short break, but before we do, again, we're not just having a conversation. This is a work you do, and you work with people all over. So would you tell folks the best way they can reach out to you, what they can do to schedule time, whatever that is, give them a way to do that, and any other tools you might have to help them?
Absolutely. So definitely they can head over and visit me at my website. There's loads of information and resources on the website and links to other places where I keep my resources, like my YouTube channel, my Substack. There's lots of videos. Our radio show of the last 54 episodes now you can find on our YouTube channel. And then you can also find me across social media. So you can reach out to me on LinkedIn. You can find me on Facebook with Megan Edge Healing or Megan Edge.
Mm-hmm.
You can find me on Instagram. Oh, where else am I? That's far too many places these days.
Yeah, yeah,
And I love an old-fashioned email. Send me an email
yeah.
and let's.
No kidding, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but I've had to resort to texting because my mailbox is always full. So That is not a story. That is a fact.
Yeah.
We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the work that has to do with the mind, the body, and the soul, the alignment. But more importantly, how can we know that and then focus on the mind, body, soul framework teaching? See, you got to have one thing. It's one thing to have this idea about alignment. Then there's another thing of now, how do I? How do I? And I got a really interesting story I want to tell you about Jessica, something I asked Jessica to help me with. Let's take a short break, everybody. We'll be right back.
Hello, beautiful. In a world that can sometimes feel so disconnected, coming home to your heart is the most profound journey. Whether you're navigating loss, grief, transition, or simply seeking clarity, you don't have to do it alone. This is why I created the Heart's Journey Healing Hearts Oracle Cards and Guidebook boxed set. It's more than just a box of oracle cards. It's a complete toolkit that helps you connect to your heart's wisdom through the shared experiences of heart transformation. For the month of June, I'm gifting you a complimentary copy of the Heart's Journey box set when you book in with me for a 60 or 90-minute healing session, whether online or in person. Let's step into your healing together. Reach out to me at meganedge.ca or email me at megan@meganedge.ca, and let's book your session, work together towards your healing, and gift you the Heart's Journey Healing Hearts Oracle Cards and Guidebook.
Are you ready to listen to your soul? Discover the power of pausing and turning in on Our Soul Whisper with Kathy Belmont and Dr. Pat. This sacred show. Hey, everybody, welcome back. I'm Dr. Pat. I get to do this work with Megan. You can find out more about me at ttrnetwork.com. Megan just gave you a ton of information, but this isn't about information. This is about reaching out and creating a change in your life. And what Megan and I both know, we have not gotten here by ourselves. Like, okay, we didn't get our own little planet and just sit up there and say, oh, look at our life changes. Look what we're going to do. Because you know what the truth is? If you have your own planet, you don't have other people, so you have to deal with it. But we need to take this and put it into context for all of you. And this is what Megan's going to walk us through. This is not just about a mind. It's a mind, body, and it's a soul. And there's a thing called alignment. This is the work that Megan does. But even after you go through that, right, you have to figure out what the framework teaching is, and then what do you do to change? And Megan's going to walk through all three of those things right now, because these stories, they will take hold of you, and you will wonder, why am I at the place I'm at and I didn't do anything? Well, okay, wait, okay. 999,000 thoughts you just had about what? So Megan, let's walk through it, right? I mean, you know this. You know that we get those stuff. And people
Absolutely.
think, oh, but Megan, I didn't say it out loud. Okay, saying it out loud is bad. Writing it down is even worse. But okay, I didn't say it out loud. Okay, but how many times did that thing go through your mind like you suck at technology?
Yeah.
I just went through this with Jessica. I said, Jessica, I need a new way to do a show on YouTube. I want to set it up like content creation. So this is Jessica. I love her because my story is I don't have a clue about how to do that. Because she's telling me you got to put it on your phone, then you got to do this. And I'm like, my head exploded right then. And so she sent me instructions. So I reached back out. So what did I do with that? I did nothing. My story that I couldn't do it, I built a network, people. But my story that I couldn't figure out how to connect the interface between my phone, X social media, and do a content creation video, no action. So take it away and help us out with how we get from a thought that we have to complete annihilation of taking any action for our future.
Here's where we start. Question everything you say. Start there.
That is my famous Walt Whitman quote.
Absolutely. This is how you break it down so that you can build it back up again. You break it down so you can build it up. So we were talking on the break about aging and these stories we have about aging. And this is really important. And I'm going to use this as our example for the 3 tiers of the mind, body, and soul healing technique that I have. Because we all age. We age from the second we're born. In fact, we're even aging before we're born because we're evolving. This is what we do as physical beings. And yet, in North America, and especially for women, we have this story about what it means to become an old woman. I love that poem, "When I'm an old woman, I'm going to dye my hair purple." And here's all the crazy things I'm going to do when I'm an old woman because no one's going to care because I'm an old woman. But even in that empowerment of I can do whatever I want to do because now I'm an old woman, there's the underlying message of but because nobody cares, right? That is something that we are taught from a very early age, both men and women. We are taught and we bring it with us until we question it. So this is the question, is it true? Right? I'm too old to do such and such. Is that true? That's the question. Is it true? Right? I can't climb Mount Everest because, is that true? Is it true? If it's true and you go, yes, it's true, I'm too old. Okay, but do you want to do this thing that you're saying you're too old to do? Well, hell yeah. Good. Then what are you going to do about it? Are you going to get strong? Great. Go get a personal trainer. Stop eating junk, whatever it is. It's not that difficult it's not that difficult. It is challenging. It can be challenging. And here's the reason why. Your mind is where your story is held. Right. And by mind, I don't just mean your brain. Your mind is actually your entire body. It's every system in your body. Because when you think of something, your body responds to it, positively or negatively, or just it responds and then we interpret the response as positive or negative, right? The power of your mind to change itself, you can change your mind about anything, should never be underestimated. And if part of your story is that you can't change, an old dog can't be taught new tricks, is that true? Question it, right? Your intellect is incredible. Your wisdom is beyond measure. You may not know that, and someone may have told you it isn't, and maybe you let that be part of your story. But here's where you start to do that work, is the mind. The body is this incredible vessel, this amazing temple that we get to live in. We get to live inside these exquisite bodies for our entire lives until the soul says, we're good, we've learned, we're done, off we go. Why wouldn't you look after that? Why wouldn't you look after your body as well as you look after your car? If you're someone who looks after their car well. So the body piece is around what we're putting into our body, our relationship with our body, what we believe to be true about our body. And a lot of those stories are held in our body. That's a lot of the trauma work that I do with my clients is where in your physical body are you holding that horrific experience from when you were 12 or 5 or when your husband left you or whatever it is. You failed the exam. You're holding that in your body if it's still a story you're telling that has a charge. So we're not only looking after our body at the physical level, but we're doing the energetic and emotional maintenance of our bodies as well. And if the relationship you have with your body, the story you're telling is that your body isn't good enough, it's too short, it's too fat, your knees are wobbly, your hair's too straight, I don't care what you're telling yourself, you need to start questioning the truth and validity of those stories if those stories are self-deprecating, because self-deprecation doesn't help anyone. The third tier is the soul. And this is your relationship with the divine, however you perceive that to be, your soul and the soul's journey. And if you're one who believes, as I do, that our soul moves through multiple lifetimes in order to experience everything about being human, then your soul and you, as the human you had a conversation before you got here about what your purpose was, what life is going to mean for you, how you're going to contribute and be of service to others. And that story you wrote before you came into this lifetime, and you can access that story. So some of the work that I do with people is around life purpose. They come in and they're in a state of despair and despondency because what's the point? What's the point of living in this world when there's so many things that seem to be against us and all these things that are happening that are horrible by most standards anyways. But there's always meaning and there's always purpose. So we do that soul work to understand why we chose to come here and have the experience that we have. And then we take those experiences and we move them from being traumatic, victimizing experiences to having value through many of the different modalities that I work with, including the couple of exercises that I've shared with you today. These are all the ways in which we begin to practice stepping into who we came here to be. Oh, have we lost
Well,
that? Or
here's what,
you're so taken back by what I said.
no, here's what I'm thinking about.
Okay.
Because if you listen to the show, the journey's not over. The work is not done. Someone said to me a long time ago that, Pat, you understand the challenges with thinking big. And I'm like, no, what? I just went to a ton of workshops, conferences for 10 days, been in the desert, no water, vision questing, so that I could think big. I think Gene Houston said this to me. And I'm like, is this hypocritical?
Hmm.
It's my first thought. This is my Bronx side. And then I said, oh, okay. And so they went on to explain to me, in terms my mom used to explain it, we are not given anything in life we can't handle.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a tough statement to grow up with Mama Doris with, because there's some stuff you get in life. But she believed the God of her understanding does not give us anything that we can't handle if we find the silver lining and are willing to help other people with that same thing. So Mama
Yes.
Doris always had like a two-part thing, right? She come up with these in the middle of bingo, playing bingo, the middle of
I
bingo.
love it. I love it. She's channeling in the middle of bingo.
She's channeling it, but what she's saying is you have to think big. And the challenges come up for you to learn how to think bigger.
Mm-hmm.
What? What?
Mm-hmm.
See, in her mind, she lived in that right side deal, because in her mind, what she's saying is the challenges are coming up, not for the present. They have no, she would say stuff like, that thing you're going through there at work, Pat, that has nothing to do with the present. That has to do with your future. And, I mean, back in the day, I was just not like who you're looking at now. And I would say, like, you're full of, okay. But I get it now.
I love that.
Challenges have nothing to do with our present or our past. They have to do with blowing a giant hole in a mountain that takes us to the future and the destiny we want. So that once we get there, we will get another challenge that brings us to the next place we want. And once I was able to look at it like that, I said, okay, bring it on. Now I stopped saying bring it on because, okay, that's a bit much. But do you understand what that statement means when we think about it?
Absolutely. And I love that. I love that reframe. It because it's all about, for me, it's all about bringing purpose and meaning into the experiences that we've had in our lives. And I'm very careful when I say that, because I do a lot of work with survivors of sexual abuse and sexual assault, childhood sexual assault,
Oh, yeah.
and adult as well. I do a lot of work with those survivors, and never, ever, ever do I want to condone certain human actions. There are certain human actions which are absolutely, I don't even have words to describe how horrible and horrendous they are. The things that people are capable. I don't believe in demons because we are capable of doing far worse than whatever a demon can do. And there is no excuse ever for taking advantage of somebody and hurting somebody on purpose. Absolutely never. And nor should a 7-year-old or a 6-year-old or a 12-year-old take on the responsibility of giving that experience value and meaning. But when you become an adult, when you graduate into adulting, now you can do the work around honoring that little person that you were, or whoever you were, whatever age it was when something happened to you that was so horrific. You can honor them by taking that experience and doing the healing work first and foremost, and then finding that way of supporting and being of service and helping others. And it may not be that you do the work with survivors because you yourself are a survivor, but what it means is that you have an empathy within you that is deeper than you had before you did this work, right? Because before you did this work, you were in you were still in that story, and that story still had a really big grip on you because it's a really big story.
That's right.
But when you move through it, and it's not an easy process necessarily, there's a lot of really painful work that has to happen. And but when you get through that, and I can speak from personal experience for some of this, now the story is one of this is what happened to me. It was never my fault. And I want to make a difference in the world now for other people who have gone through something like this. I want them to know how precious they are and how it was never their fault. And so that then becomes the new story. And that's what I mean by changing your relationship
Exactly.
with your experiences.
Yeah. That's what Mama Doris was saying in her own words, in her own language, but she made a great point. And, I remember before she passed, her and my sister died a year apart from each other, and it was just gut wrenching. But here's the good news. When my dad died, she shared a letter from my birth mom, and that letter was so revealing. My birth mom was in Bellevue in New York. She had mental disease. Let's just put it like that. Alcoholic, blah, blah, blah. Ended up killing herself. My
Mm,
dad threw the letters out. She pulled them out of the garbage. And when he died, she gave them to me. And they were personal. And they were
mm,
letters about how she loved both me and my sister. Because you see, when somebody leaves you, you don't think they love you. But the bottom line to the story and the way she described it has to do with your story and the energetic timeline you talk about. She reframed it.
mhm.
And when she said to me, you faced a lot of challenges in your life, but there's one challenge. She did this in a Southern drawl. It's like, honey, you faced so many challenges in your life. Just like me, but you got something you got to handle right now, or else you're not going to be able to blast any hole in any wall. You have got to stop drinking.
Mm,
And this is me talking to all of you out there that understand the meaning of you've had one too many and you don't know how to have one too many the next night. This is me talking to you. You can put that down. There are programs, there are help, there are mindset changes. Because what she said to me, if you don't put it down, you will not face the challenge. You'll drink it away. And if you don't face the challenge so that you could blow that mountain open, she grew up in the South, so a lot of mining down there. blow blow that hole in the wall, you won't be able to do it because you won't even see the mountain, Pat.
mhm. Yeah.
We have to really identify those things that are challenges that not just stop us from our daily goodness, but from our future goodness.
Mhm.
And what you're talking about is changing the storyline, aren't you?
That's exactly it. And we do the work from the original story so that we can rewrite and create, or not even rewrite because it hasn't been written yet, but we get to write what that story looks like moving forward. And it isn't always going to be a bed of roses. In fact, it's probably not ever going to be completely a bed of roses. However, again, it's how you approach the experience through the tools that you have cultivated in the understanding of who you are and why you're here and why you want to be the person that you are. And if there's a part of you that's deeply ashamed, there's a part of you that's using a substance to numb out or cover up or hide behind, absolutely do the work around the addiction, but also go deeper into what is
You have to.
holding that up. You have to
Yeah.
go into the why of it.
Yeah.
Where is this coming from? Where is it
Yeah.
coming from? And that's the painful work. But again, like we said at the very beginning, none of us do this alone. This is work you do with somebody who you trust, who you have a connection with, and who you say, okay, I feel safe with you and I can be vulnerable and I can break
That's right.
myself all the way down so that I can then build myself back up again.
Yeah. And the community, I don't care what you think about AA or 12-step programs, but I will tell you, once upon a time, I used to think everybody should go through the steps because once you go through a fourth step, a fifth step, and then you have to stand in front of a person and make an amends, it changes you.
Yeah.
It changes you. Megan, what do you want to leave us with today? And again, remind people how they can work with you.
Yeah, so I'm happy to work with people in person if you happen to be in my neighborhood, which is Victoria, British Columbia in Canada. But if you're not in my neighborhood, we can do this work online from anywhere in the world. If you've got a connection, we've got a connection, and we can absolutely do this work. I want you to know how amazing you are. Point blank. You are absolutely amazing. And I joke about that skit from Saturday Night Live, you're good enough. I'm good enough. I'm pretty enough, and doggone it, people love me. Because that was a big thing in the 80s where you were supposed to just say positive affirmations and everything would get better and go away. Deep down inside, you are all of those things. You're far wiser than you know. You have such resilience. You've got this. You've got this. So show up in your best self and recognize that that self is going to continue to evolve. You will always be evolving if you give yourself that space to do so in. So you've got this.
Yeah. Megan, thank you for today. And thank you for bringing this topic, because the bottom line with this topic is the silence. I want to talk about that for a minute. The silence that we have that is deafening of what people went through COVID. And they're carrying so much with them. Stories. Everyone has a story. Everyone went through a challenge. And yet it's as if we flipped a switch to just move on. Normal. And one thing COVID did, which Mama Doris, if she were alive, she would say it. It tested every part of our body, mind, and soul in ways that we couldn't accomplish. So she would then say, you're not only going to blow a hole in a mountain when you get through that, you're going to annihilate the whole mountain. She can't do it alone. Thank you, Megan.
Maybe you climb the mountain and come down the other side.
No, I see Mama Doris with a stick of dynamite, just saying.
I have a soft spot for mountains.
Yeah, she has a soft spot for dynamite. Megan, thank you so much. Emily, thank you so much. And to all of you out there, we talked about a lot, but guess what we did talk about? We talked about helping you. And not just helping you today on the show, but helping you, giving you a resource like Megan. She gave you her information. She is there. And please, even if it's not you, you don't think you have a story to change, but you know somebody that might, because, you know, we all do.
Yeah, we all
Pass
do.
this information on. Thank you, Megan.
Yeah, thank you, Pat.
All right. And thank you to the best audience on the planet. We'll see you next time.
Absolutely. See you next time. Thank you for joining us today on Playing on the Edge Radio. If you felt seen, supported, or inspired, take a moment to subscribe, share this episode with someone you care about, and continue the journey with us. For more healing resources, to book a healing session, and to learn more about Megan's work, including the Heart's Journey, Healing Hearts Oracle Cards and Guidebook, visit meganedge.ca. And remember, healing isn't something you have to wait for. It begins the moment you choose to come home to yourself.